What's going on, everyone? In the market today, we saw an absolutely amazing breakout, and honestly, a bunch of stocks flew to the upside. In today's video, we're going to go over some of the best setups in the market for tomorrow, and towards the end of the video, we have a nearly $1 million trade you won't want to miss, but we actually have some very interesting news related to a couple earnings reports, and of course, the potential United States default. So make sure to stick with us all the way to the end. But with that being said, Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, Mike, I will say the market had a very nice explosion today, and we've actually been watching a pretty key trend line here over the past couple weeks, and the market's been stuck in this big range between like 409 and 414.50. And today we finally got that big extension all the way up to like 414 or 415.80. I mean, just a little bit higher than that, almost hit 416 as the market got that breakout there. And there was some huge news that came in where both Biden and McCarthy, the House Speaker, keep in mind, is Kevin McCarthy, by the way, for anybody who doesn't keep up with politics too much. They actually came out today and they both said that there will not be a default as the talks are inching forward. So I love to hear that. They actually met yesterday. McCarthy met with Biden and Kamala Harris. So pretty cool to see there. It seems like talks are getting going. And with these statements coming out, I think that really brought a lot of excitement into the markets in the middle of the day. Right around like 12:30 Eastern time, we saw like a huge explosion and that breakout finally came. And, it's perfect timing, Mike. We started breaking out above the trend line. We had the good news coming in. And then we had all these companies flying up this morning, like Carnival Cruise Lines, American Airlines, even like SoFi, Square. I mean, ton of the growth stocks today were just on fire too.
No doubt. And one stock that actually had a surprisingly good day was Target. So they reported earnings this morning, and at first they were all over the place, but they ended up slowly uptrending. And Tom, Target actually came out with some pretty crazy, or actually I'll say really crazy news. So fill us in.
Yeah, so it looks like they're actually expecting organized crime to fuel losses, to make their losses go up by over $500 million this year with something that they're calling a shrinkage, Mike. So it's a little bit funny, it's called shrink, I guess they'll say. Total about $763 million last year, and they're expecting this to get in over $1 billion this year, as they're expecting $500 million more in stolen and lost merchandise. Now, I will say, shrink is not all just stolen merchandise. It's lost stuff, it's damaged stuff, and shipping and stuff like that as well. So keep that in mind. But they're expecting this to go over $1 billion in just that. Imagine, Mike, if they came out and just said, well, we're just going to do $1 billion buyback or something. That would sound a lot better. But no, we have this shrink of over $1 billion if we get that hit. And, Target's been dealing with this for a while, Mike. Every time they report earnings, I know that we get numbers out like this, and it's just terrible to hear. And I know that Target has just had so much theft over the past, 10 years or so, and a lot of other companies have too. It's crazy the amount of money that they have to, adjust for with this. And with Target, it's getting over to $1 billion. That's an insane amount.
Yeah, but it looks like at the end of the day, the market didn't really care about this news too much. So, they reported earnings, they beat on their EPS estimate, and they even beat on their revenue estimate.
Yeah, they did. And I did hear some negative stuff where they're saying that they are a little bit worried about how shoppers are reacting to like the overall economy right now. But it seems like the numbers are actually holding up pretty well for them. And looking at the stock today, it actually did go up. It was one of my favorite earnings plays of the week, and it's starting to go back just a little bit here. We're going to have Walmart reporting over the next couple weeks too. And if we go to Target on that daily chart, Mike, they're still down here, like lingering around a big support. They have a big gap to fill in. I will say, while the earnings, it was nice to see us go up, we just didn't really see any huge momentum. It was only up like 2%. And of course, Target's a slow mover.
Exactly. So interesting stuff there. But Tom, as you touched on with the potential default, while it looks like most likely will be in the clear, it's hard to avoid, how close the government is getting. It's like they are really treading a very, very fine line. And I was looking on Yahoo Finance, and you could just see through this visual how close we are to the debt ceiling. It's crazy.
Yeah, It really is. We're getting so close there. And I know that it really scares a lot of investors out there. It scares everybody in the economy to hear stuff like this. But it's good to see Biden and McCarthy saying that they're coming close to, a deal and that, we're getting closer on the talks anyway. So that's good to hear. They're saying that I guess the timeline we could say is June 1st, or the deadline we could say, if it's not done by then we're gonna have some issues where we could actually default on payments and stuff like that. It might, they might be able to change that date a little bit as we get closer, but Mike, it's looking like they might get a deal done. And like you said, that visual is definitely getting scary there. If it goes much longer, we are going to be in a world of hurt. So I'm hoping that they get a deal done, and I think that they will. And it looks like the market loved that news today with Biden and McCarthy. That was right where we got that big breakout, and so many stocks were just blasting up at the end of the day. Like Apple was actually looking terrible this morning, but that news really got them back up in the green.
There we go. Well, Tom, let's start talking about some setups for tomorrow. One stock that I've been watching very closely is DAL, Delta Airlines. A bunch of airlines and just travel-related stocks had a day today, and they popped up anywhere from a couple percentage points to, closer to like 7 to 8%. DAL popped by around 6.24%, and they had a bunch of momentum all day long. So I'm going to keep a very close eye on this one to the upside for tomorrow. And even on the daily chart, this stock is a little bit oversold.
Yeah, it really is. It had that big dip over the past couple months. It was up around like $40, and then it recently hit lows around 31. So it looks like we're trading back up into those higher ranges there. So I really love Delta. I love all those travel stocks today. It was so fun to see those running up. I even was watching CCL quite a bit this morning along with DAL. And man, Mike, I will say these growth stocks were following, not necessarily following the airlines and the travel stocks, but it was just such a great day overall for so many sectors. I cannot help but look at Palantir right now. Today, they got back above $10, and they're getting really close to this key resistance right around $10.30. If we go out to a 15-minute chart and we look at the recent high, it's actually like right around 1030. So if we're able to break that, I think Palantir can really go, Mike. They had those good earnings. They ran up a ton, and then they just fell down and consolidated for a couple weeks. And I think we're finally due for that earnings continuation back.
Boom. Another stock I'm watching pretty closely is Bank of America. This one is decently oversold on the daily chart, and it has some pretty good short-term bullish momentum right now. A lot of these bank stocks, especially some of like the smaller bank stocks, have been doing great lately. And, Bank of America is definitely one of the bigger banks, but the momentum to the upside is still good. So I'll keep this one close on my watch list.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice one on the daily. I love how it's bouncing on that big support around 27, starting to come back up off of there. And we've had a lot of bounces there over the past few months where we've had some decent recovery. So I think Bank of America is awesome, Mike. It was a good pick to pick that financial sector there. It had a pretty good day today overall. So many of them were running. I stuck with another growth stock with Square. Mike, Square's been down in the dumps lately, compared to like, let's just say DraftKings. Like, DraftKings might not be doing that great, but it's up a lot from its lows. I know Square's been struggling a little bit, but we're actually bouncing off key support right around $55. This is coming right as the market is breaking on this key trend line. So keep your eyes on Square. I think there can be a pretty big recovery up to maybe 60, maybe even a little bit higher towards the end of the week this week on Friday. So I love Square, Mike. These growth stocks are finally starting to get some good momentum coming in.
Boom. Well, with that being said, let's get right into those momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have Tesla to the upside.
I actually wanted to have Tesla as one of my plays, Mike, but I saw him in the momentum plays and I was like, man, I can't copy it again here. So I'm going to go ahead and look at Tesla above 175 tomorrow. You can see how Tesla has had 1, 2, 3 perfect bounces right at this 174.50 resistance. And this is like near perfect here within like 10 or so cents. So keep your eyes on Tesla above 175.
All right. With the next one, we have BYND also to the upside.
Beyond me, this one had a pretty bad move with earnings. It's starting to come back up. If we can break above this resistance right at $11 even, go ahead and watch for some calls.
All right. And then with the last one, we have Netflix, and we need both directions.
Netflix, yeah, this one was a pretty mixed one today. This morning it ran down a lot. End of day, it got pretty high. If it's able to break above 342, watch for some calls. I have a feeling this one might follow the market up. If that market does continue, the market falls down though, and Netflix falls back under 337, maybe eye up some puts. And, I wouldn't be surprised if we fell back down given that big run today.
Sounds good. So you guys heard Tom. We have that downside level on Netflix. If it breaks below that, we're looking at it for puts tomorrow. We also have that upside level as well. So if it breaks above that, we'll watch it for some upside plays, maybe with some calls. And then don't forget about BYND and Tesla, also for potential upside plays, only if they break above those upper levels. But it is now time for the big money trade of the day. We have $850,000 that went into CLF. So CLF is like a mining and steel company. Basically $850,000 was dumped into the 16 strike calls that expire on July 21st of 2023. CLF is pretty oversold on the daily chart. They're coming up to some pretty strong support between like the $14 to $15 range. Overall, this stock had a good amount of momentum intraday today, so I think the risk reward on this one overall is pretty good, especially considering the main resistance isn't until like that $19 to like $20 zone.
Yeah, I love this one, Mike. That big support down there is awesome. And I've been loving so many stocks over the past few months off of some of these bigger supports. It's awesome to see CLF moving up there. And I'm not surprised the big money's getting in, to be honest, Mike. Like, that's a huge level there. And I feel like that even if it doesn't explode, right? Like, let's just say CLF doesn't even get to 19. Like, let's just say it maybe retests like this $17 area. That's going to do great over the next couple of weeks for those 16 strike calls. So I love this play, Mike. It's pretty short term with that expiration in July as well. Might not be a bad one to copy. I even like $16. It's not too far out of the money. It's actually will be there in just about 80 cents or so.
There we go. Well, Tom, I think we are set for a good day tomorrow. I think the intraday movement is starting to get more normal, if that makes sense. Over like the past 2 weeks, it has just been a chop fest, like basically all day long, every single day. It's just choppy movement and just a bunch of fake outs. But today, we saw a pretty strong breakout from that descending triangle pattern, and we're actually breaking above like that 414.50 area on SPY, which has been a pretty strong resistance lately.
Yeah, it has. I mean, I'm pretty excited here, Mike. It's good to see these stocks starting to move. And with SPY, I noticed on that daily chart, we're starting to get back up to that huge resistance level again, about around like 418 to 420. And I think that we're going to be retesting that maybe tomorrow or over the next few days, and maybe even breaking out. It's crazy to see these stocks like AMD just continuing, Mike. Another big green day today out of them. Like, these tech stocks are just not slowing down right now. And the QQQ, man, like, look at that today too. Another big extension. So good stuff. I love to see the market rising like this. And it's always fun to see, Tesla, CCL, and all these stocks in the market moving. It makes for some very fun trades throughout the day.
Speaking of fun trades, Tom, we can't go without looking at the earnings and I guess you could say economic schedule for the week.
Yeah, so on the economic schedule, we do have Powell speaking on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. That's probably going to be the biggest event coming up for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, we do have some Fed speakers like Jefferson, Barr, and Logan. But we do have some initial jobless claims before open as well at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. So keep your eyes out for that. But like I said, Mike, Powell's going to probably be the biggest thing there. And with the earnings, we have Alibaba and Walmart tomorrow, Mike. Now, Walmart isn't really going to be a big surprise, probably. It kind of followed Target this morning, was all over the place. I'm curious to see what they do. But I'll be honest, Mike, Baba, you've really turned me on to these China stocks this week. They have been flying, and Baba had another big continuation today.
There we go. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you like the videos, make sure to subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. And last but not least, huge shout out to today's member of the day, Sharon Rose, in the Discord chat. You've only been in the chat for like a couple days, so you're very, very new, but your activity has been great so far, and you've been asking some solid questions. So huge shout out to you. Keep it up. Besides that, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's have an amazing end to the week.